So as the Pokemon World Championships kick off over in America's capital, I want to zoom in on what makes this gaming and media franchise so successful. James LaLonde, co-founder of global game publisher Yodo1, joins us on the set. James, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for having me.
So I want to ask you, because this is really an interesting phenomenon, right? Pokemon, this phenomenon, it's intergenerational and it's also international. So from a behavioral economics perspective, maybe from a psychological perspective, why has this franchise been so successful?
Well, I think Japanese always kind of tended to look beyond just their nation. They always wanted to be international in focus, whereas, and I think they look for a game that not only will appeal to them, but they actually think about the international market from the get-go. But this one is about a game. It's a game you play with your friends, you talk about with your friends. It's very social. It's very much a game and it's got this kind of nurturing effect where you're collecting, you're growing your team, you're building things. And I just think that they took if you look at the founder of the game, the guy who created it, he used to go in the woods that a lot of Japanese young boys do, collect beetles with real big horns and things, and they would raise them and trade them and talk about them. And so when you think global, maybe beetles wouldn't work, but the pocket monsters, that's something that's taken off and done really well.
I mean, Pokemon has been more than 20 years now, and it's still going quite strong. And you mentioned some of the factors such as the social element of the game and the nurturing element of the game. And when Pokemon first came out, there were alternatives. There were sort of close copycats where the factors you just mentioned could have made these alternatives successful as well. So what makes Pokemon stand out from the competition, I guess?
They did something unique. I actually lived in Japan when it came out, and I saw it from the ground level. And they made the game, there's different versions of the game. It started with colors, red, white, yellow version. They made games as collectibles, actually. So they actually, you could choose the version to play that you thought suited you or had the right monsters that you wanted in it. And that was really new in the industry. And then if you look at yourself and myself, we're different generations of Pokemon fans. I started with the card games and the TV shows and the books. You might have started with something else, probably. But then I got back into it when they, brought out the augmented reality version, 2016, and I got back into it. Now I'm on vacation next week. I'm going to be playing with my 7-year-old nephew who's nuts. He got into it on the Nintendo DS. So it just keeps going because they keep reinventing themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I started with the Pokemon Blue version on the Game Boy. This almost seems like a Disney effect where it is certainly intergenerational. But I want to bring it back to the bigger picture, James. When you take a look at sort of the broader game market in general, you've got lots of good startup building experience. What does it take to be successful today in terms of building a great media and game franchise?
Well, I think the people that create the game need to make it about what they like to do. The guy who created Minecraft liked doing that. The guy who created Pokemon liked collecting these little monsters when he was a kid and made it a version of that for people. And I think you can't do this kind of formulaic thing. It's got to be something. There's got to be a creator there. There's got to be somebody who likes and is passionate about it. That's part of it. And then the social aspect is really important. So there's people in Washington, D.C. where they're playing this card game. They're actually young kids. There's a lot of money at stake. And then there's this technology. You're watching these kids play games. These cards are collectibles. They sell them to each other. They trade them to each other. There's just kind of a whole community built up.
So for Chinese game developers overall, what do you think they need to do more in terms of being more competitive in the global arena? What are some of their advantages and what do you think are some of their challenges?
Well, I'm an American who started a game company in Beijing, so I don't typically wear this to the office, and we're very much focused, not by design, but we're bringing IP from overseas to China. We've been responsible for the Transformers IP from Hasbro and some others. But the interesting thing I find is that while Tencent and some of these players are really good at operating the games and scaling them, I don't see a lot of these really. If you look at Chinese history, these genres, these stories that have come across the hundreds of thousands of years, and why does Disney bring Mulan to the screen versus I don't see the Monkey King, I don't see Journey to the West, I don't really see those things kind of playing in the Western thing. And I think maybe it's, I think you can't be completely true if you have to think about it. You make a game for Chinese gamers, it will do well in China maybe, but if you think a little bit more internationally, I think the goal of this game is to be international, and then you need to start thinking that way. I don't really see any IP on the horizon that I can see really translating as is current course and speed to the West.
Okay. All right. Many thanks for your insights on this topic, Jim LaLonde,
Thank you.
co-founder of game publisher Yodo1. Thank you.